Hi guys, welcome to Extra Talk. Today we have a talk about this great start of the season of Ajax. We have Maxwell with us and we have Rick with us. Hi guys.
Hi man.
Morning.
So guys, like I said, we're going to talk and reflect a little bit about the start of the season, which has been tremendous, basically. But also what we are going to talk about and what I want to ask you guys is, what's the reason for this great start of Ajax, But before we do that, before we go into the details, I actually already sent this to you guys to think about one word in which you would describe Ajax so far in 2021 season so far. So Rick, I'll go with you first. What's the word that you came up with?
Wonderful. It's been a wonderful season, and what I'd like to say really is we've been walking the golden path this season. Everything has been going right. We've got no injuries. Everyone's playing well. The new players have come in and transitioned really well to the Ajax style of play. And it's been wonderful to watch.
Absolutely. What about you, Maxwell?
Well, I'm a laid-back guy, no? You're going to laugh at my answer I'm going to give you. But to me, the season is going steady. That's my word for it. Steady? Now. That's the word. Yeah, it's steady because last year we had a couple of games, when the ratings for the game in total as a collective, we had games as a team we reached a rating of a 4, sometimes a 6, sometimes an 8. And to me, this year it's going steady. We keep a high rating level.
Okay. All right. Good.
So less low rating.
Can I ask you guys, only a yes or no will suffice? Can I ask you guys, are you guys surprised? Because I'm surprised how we're doing so far. Are you guys surprised as well?
Yes.
Well, actually, no.
How's that?
If you ask me.
Are you telling me you expected us to be where we are right now?
Well, not expected, but we could have demanded. Because the biggest change for this team is that there hasn't been a big change. We are still the same team as last year, so therefore we can expect and ask, or maybe even demand a higher level from the team. It's not like the years before when we had to build and develop a new team. It's the same team. Some of the players came back. Some of the players are feeling more confident, feeling their way now. So yes, then you can demand more.
Yeah, actually, you already gave away my next question. You already answered it basically a little bit. So I will go with Rick first. Maybe you want to add something on that one, Maxwell. So my next question would be, how come we are doing so well at the early stages of this season? Maxwell, you already mentioned a couple of reasons. Rick, anything you want to add to that?
I think, like Maxwell said, everything that we demand as a team has fallen into place this season. We've had a lot of players that have had opportunity to basically just gel now. Alaire's had a bit more time to gel into his role within Ajax, and we don't have to play around him anymore. He actually fits in. As you've seen in the last 2 games, he's fit in quite well. Bearhouse also, he changed the dynamic of how we play number 10. Klaasen's very much, doesn't always go as forward. He does hold back a little bit, but Bearhouse gives the freedom for Tadic and Haller to play a bit more and just link up together, and has played really well. Our expectations have lifted from this play. So therefore, yes, we do demand that now. But at the beginning of the season, we were still kind of working out what Bearhouse's role would be and how Haller would actually develop playing around us.
Yeah, I agree. Maxwell, anything that you missed out, or any other reasons you want to mention about this the start of Ajax, how we're doing so far?
No, I think the main thing is we kept our squad together, and like I said, some players developed during this last couple of weeks, couple of months since the season started against PSV.
Yeah. All right. So look, I agree with you guys basically. And what I want to ask you now is that if you look at where we are right now. And I know it's very difficult because it's the start of the season, so we have to be a bit careful with these kind of things. But we're reflecting, at this point. There has been a lot of pundits already this week talking about where they rank Ajax. I think even Frank de Boer said now that this Ajax team, the way they play, the way they're set up, their tactics, everything like that, is just maybe, is right up there with City, Bayern, maybe just below that. But definitely, he said, we're better than Paris Saint-Germain. Again, not the players. We're talking about how we play. Do you guys agree with that? How would you guys compare us to the big teams out there and in the big leagues? Maxwell, you can go first.
Well, as you know, and I've mentioned it before, I don't watch other teams. I only watch Ajax. Simple, because that's the only thing that interests me.
Yeah.
So I only watch the games of Ajax.
True.
But that being said, I don't like to compare. Simple. We are Ajax. We are doing our own way. We have our own philosophy. We have our own style of playing, and especially Ten Hag. If you have to mention someone who is doing his own thing, then it's definitely him. And well, for the first time in a lot of years, we are finally doing our own thing, and we are doing a great job with Mark Overmars at the head of him. So I can't honestly. I don't want to respond on quotes like that. Even because it's still a ball game. We can play Bayern and win, and then what are we suddenly above Bayern? It's a ball game.
Yeah, and we can play Utrecht, and we can lose a game.
And we can lose a game. Yeah. And that's the way it goes. So yeah. I don't like to compare.
All right, Rick. What about you? How do you stand in this case?
I think for us, our cohesion is really what's made us this year. Yeah. And you've seen against Dortmund and Sporting and PSV, the way that we've played at our peak can compete with the top level clubs. But we, as a team, we don't have any, I guess, superstars that are earning hundreds of millions of dollars a season. We play as a team. There's not one superstar in the team. And that's the Ajax way of playing football. You look at other clubs, PSG, Man United, they have big superstars, but they're struggling. They're not destroying teams. So are they really a team, or are they just a team of superstars? Whereas that is the difference between us and some of the other bigger clubs that aren't actually producing great football right now.
Yeah. Can I add something to the mix about, the thing that for me, maybe you guys can add something to that, but the thing for me that surprised me the most, I mean, most people will talk about certain players, like Anthony has been amazing this season compared to last season. He was already good, but now he's even better. Berghuis, as you guys mentioned, coming from Feyenoord, gelling in this team, very good at the number 10 position. I mean, nobody saw that coming, basically. Timber growing. There's so many things. Alvarez just going the same way he ended the season. Martinez, Blind playing. I mean, started a bit rough at the start of the season, but lately he's been like Pirlo, basically, on the left side. Mazraoui, better than ever. So a lot of players really stepping up. But the thing that surprised me the most, and I know Maxwell will love this because he's always the one that tells me off the record, that this is something he loves. The hunger of that team, of the players to improve, to be the best, to compete, to show everyone, not even in the Eredivisie only, but also in the Champions League. They really believe in themselves. They really believe this team can do something. And it's going all the way up, all the way down, because it's not only that. You hear the same from Ten Hag. You hear the same from Overmars. So isn't that what makes the whole thing unique at this point, Maxwell?
Yes, but also a big fat no. Because our strength is also our biggest weakness. Like you mentioned, now this team wants to compete on the highest level. They play their best on the highest level. But we also have our games against Utrecht, Twente. As fans, we expect the same games, the same results, and we are not always seeing that. So
Actually,
it's a thing. It's a mental thing, probably.
yeah.
But I think that is as a fan, I think that's the main thing that you can ask for from the players, that to improve, to have that same focus, the same demand from themselves to give their best, also at the lower teams, the lower clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have two questions for you before I go to Rick. Well, actually, one question and one comment. The first comment is, you're actually mentioning something that Ten Hag stated a couple of weeks ago, that throughout the Ajax organization, there is the trap of being arrogant. Ajax always has that. So if they play a lesser team, that they have the belief, like, and it's not something conscious, it's more unconsciously, that because of the youth, they're always the better players, et cetera, and it grows. And when you play Heracles maybe this week, but also if you play Twente and these kind of things, I'm not saying that they consciously don't want to be at 100%, but you go into the game differently than when you play a Champions League game. I think Ten Hag said it, and Ten Hag is really busy trying to eliminate this thing, with this team. Do you think he's doing a good job?
I think they're doing a great job, because honestly, I don't think he's the only one doing it. I think the whole coaching staff is doing a great job with this. So yeah, it's a group thing, and again, it's the squad who stay together.
Yeah, and do you think also something has to do with the fact that we have some experienced players, and maybe also the Latinos with different mentality?
No, definitely. Because the balance is better with the more veteran players and also the youth players.
Yeah, Rick, how do you see this whole discussion about being wary of the fact that we don't underestimate our opponents? It doesn't matter who we play. What's your view on that?
That's the thing, right? So we have to respect our opponents, no matter who they are. So, and that becomes, like you said, a trap. We don't get up and give 100% for the games against Heracles and Canberra and things like that. We try and ease our way through it and anticipate that we're going to win, and the fans will probably expect and demand that win. But if we don't put in and give the opponent the respect that they deserve, regardless of who they are, whether it be Champions League or playing a relegation side in the Eredivisie, you will fall into that trap. The cohesion and gel of this team right now is unbelievable. But we also have to, be wary of the fact that we're only one injury away from having a massive hole. And so we have to give the opportunity to give minutes for the other players. So if that does happen, then they are on the same level when we go into a Champions League game.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to repeat myself in the sense that I have mentioned this a couple of times before, also to other guests on this channel. But I have to ask this question because you're mentioning something that is also one of the things that Ten Hag stated, and I want to see how you guys look at this, because once he said, everybody is saying we have to rotate. We have to also give minutes to other players, and rightfully so. We have so many good players on the bench as well that need minutes. If something happens, they're ready to go. On the other hand, Ten Hag is a type of coach that doesn't like to rotate so much because he believes in chemistry of that team that plays going to a high level, which was the case in 2018 and 19. And we were lucky in the season that we didn't have many, critical injuries with the players, so they could really excel. But at the same time, you see Ten Hag also, also seeing that we have so many players, you have to give minutes to those players. But if you look at so far from the start till now, the only changes he really has done in the starting 11 is he sometimes, switches with Anthony and Neres, and he sometimes switches with Tagliafico and Blind. But he doesn't rotate so much. And the reason for that, he mentioned this as well, but I want to know if you guys agree, is that if you rotate a lot, you will give a wrong signal to the team in the sense that, we can win it also with other players. How do you guys view that? I'll go with Rick first. A hard one, I know.
Yeah, it is a hard one. Yes, you do need that chemistry, and the more that you play together, that chemistry builds.
Yeah.
We only have to look at matches that follow international breaks, is where we lose that chemistry because of 3-4 players that are in that first starting 11 aren't going to be available. So where do we fill those gaps? And do the players on the bench that don't get those minutes have the confidence to play within the rest of the team and just flow in and have that chemistry as well? So it's a fine balancing act as to how you maintain that squad, because as you said, you want to maintain that first starting 11. So the chemistry and the high pressure play is in confidence with the players. But if the players don't get the minutes that are on the cuff of starting or on the bench, they lose confidence within themselves because they're not getting the opportunity to be on the park and prove themselves to Ten Hag. So that's the fine balancing act that Ten Hag needs to play.
Yeah. Maxwell?
Well, if I don't agree if the coach is seeing this in this way. To me, if I would put it on a scale, and on one hand you would have the chemistry, and on the other hand you would have the satisfaction of the players who aren't playing. Yeah. I think rotating isn't just a thing about fitness. It's also about giving a chance to another player to prove himself in a game situation, that he deserves the spot instead of the player who's in the starting 11. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is in games, if you have, for example, if you have a European match coming up, or you had the game previous, then I think it's easy to give a youth player, or maybe someone like, for example, Karud, more playing time to develop more their when they are needed because of an injury, then they can start full 100%.
I want to thank you for specifying certain player, Karud, but not only Karud. And I want to go deep dive a little bit on this one, and I want your opinion about that, because again, like you said, the scale, one hand you have the chemistry, you want to excel with the team, you don't want to rotate so much. On the other hand, and that's a very important factor, you want the other players who are very good players as well. Let's not forget, they're not like coming from the youth, but they're really like, they could be starting 11 for any other team. They need to feel also that they're part of this team and that they're close to the starting 11, that they can compete with their direct rival on that position. And I agree with you, but we have, like right now, if you look at the starting 11 lately, they're playing so well. We slapped Dortmund 4-0, we slapped PSV 5-0. I mean, it should be difficult for, like, I'm just mentioning a couple of players, but we can go endlessly. But Karud, like you mentioned, Tagliafico, Klaassen, these kind of players, usually they would play, but now they are second choice. And not only that, sometimes, like in the situation of Karud, there is a debate going on, like, doesn't he deserve a little bit more chance? How do you guys see this balancing act, between the players that we have who are doing absolutely remarkably lately, and then you have the players that are very good on the bench, but they also want their chance and they want to play more minutes? Maxwell, what's your take on that?
Well, to be honest, I think there's only one right answer to this, and that's a winning coach is always right. We can want those players to come in and play, but eventually, like you said, if you destroy Dortmund with 4-0, then we can ask for Karud, we can ask for Darami or whoever. But if you win 4-0 in the way you do, then we are all in awe. So okay, what else can I say?
Yeah. Rick, do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. The way that the players need to come in and fill those gaps, opportunities will be there. Like I said, the international weekend, where we come off from that, there will definitely be 3 or 4 opportunities there. We've got a couple of games prior or just before European games that aren't stronger teams, but we still need to give respect where they where the players might be able to get some more minutes than the usual, say, the last 15 or 20. But, like you said, a winning coach is the right coach and can't argue with that.
Yeah. All right. Look, let's move on to this subject. We talked about how good Ajax has been performing so far. Of course, there has been some slip-ups. We know that the Johan Cruyff schaal, the shield, we lost 4-0. We know why the reason for that, basically. We had a 1-1 against Twente. We had a 1-0 loss to Utrecht. Apart from that, lately we're clicking very well, playing against very good teams, and we're winning. Champions League, I don't think it could be any better, to be honest. If you look at the amount of goals we score, if you look at how stable we are in the defense with Pasveer on goal, we will come to that in a bit. My question to you guys would be, how can we, usually we improve, as the season progresses. That's how Ajax is. Now it's a bit different. You guys touched upon it at the beginning of the talk. Like, nothing has changed compared to last year in terms of the players. Even more, we added Berghuis and Darami now. And Berghuis has already proven that he's clicking on the number 10 with Haller, and for the team. But is there anything else we can do to even improve further in that season? And if so, can you let us know what it is? Rick?
I think we just need to be consistent, believe that as the season goes on, that will improve itself naturally. There's nothing really at the moment that we're playing a wonderful style of football. We've only had 2 goals that we've conceded in Eredivisie, and we're absolutely destroying everyone right now. But belief and confidence, and the chemistry will just consistently improve, and then that everything will just happen naturally, I believe, as this team goes on.
All right, Maxwell?
Well, I have actually nothing much more to add. Just hoping that all the players will stay fit, because we are reaching a very high level at the moment. But and even in the game of Dortmund, everyone was surprised that we could keep that pace for 90 minutes. Can you do that a season long? For 90 minutes, so we're going to need all the players we have, and I'm hoping, like Rick said, they believe and we stay fit.
Maybe I'm stretching a little bit here, but do you think the flip side of the coin that we touched upon about the players on the bench being very good and waiting for their minutes, or having more minutes or being a starter? Do you think the other side of this, because of players being so good, the starting players, they know that they have somebody, eager to take their spot. So it's even more for them, like, I have to perform every game. You guys think this also has to do something with it? Anyone?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. You want to, as an athlete, I think you want to play those games. You have to want to play in a semi-final or in a final of a Champions League, and the only way to get there is to win the previous quarter final game, for example.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rick, you agree, right?
Yeah, I do, and I think the challenge for positions doesn't allow for any of the players to be complacent and be just, I've got this position in my hands, like that challenge for positions on the starting 11 is what drives everyone to be better and want to improve. And so if you fall down, there's someone right there that's going to take your spot.
When you guys hear or read those post-game interviews of Ten Hag, do you guys laugh like I do sometimes, or do you think like, no, this is exactly the kind of coach we need, like, hey, you had a very good game against PSV, it's amazing. And then he says, it's just 3 points. It doesn't mean nothing. It's just October, November, you don't win anything. It's until the end of the season. So we have to continue. Like these very down to earth, not being too excited, but, like, do you think it's an act, or do you really think this is how he is? Rick, what do you think?
Well, you don't win the leagues in December, do you? So, he's right. At the moment, it's just 3 points. Every 3 points matters towards the end of the season. So regardless if you win 1-0, 5-0, the opposition might play a really defensive game and you only get one in. That's 3 points. We play very well and we score 5 goals. That's still 3 points. At the end of the day, Ten Hag is right. You just need to keep walking your path, get those 3 points, and don't get over exuberated about anything. Yeah, the great games in the Topper and the Classica are great for the fans, but at the end of the day, the players need the 3 points, and then we just keep marching forward. That's it's done right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. But Maxwell, like, for instance, you slap PSV 5-0, right? Still Ten Hag starts analyzing the game and telling what went wrong,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. Do you think this is too much?
No, I know we are making fun of him.
No, I'm not making fun of him.
No. I mean, in the way he talks in front of the media, but
no. Also, I'm not. I'm just trying. I'm talking more about the way he is. If we play very good, he's still critical. Is this like, you think this is deliberate to keep the players sharp and not to be complacent, like Rick said?
No, I think he's honest. Okay. I think he's just being himself. And if you ask me, what defines a good coach is someone who can translate the thing that he has in his own mind to the players, and somehow the way he talks is reaching the players because they are doing it.
True.
So we can think of what we want, on how he brings it. Eventually it comes out. It comes on to how we communicate to the players and how they take it in. And what we sometimes seem to forget is that this coach never played on a high level for himself. Okay, he made it as a professional player, but he never played on a high level. But somehow he has a vision, and he knows how to bring it, pass it on to the players.
Yeah. Do you think that's more?
Add on to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think to add on to that is not being satisfied. Like, he always brings critical points in his media segments, but he's not satisfied. He does do some positive points, but he's also presenting some critical points where the team still needs to improve. So not being satisfied, regardless of the result, is one of the key things that Ten Hag has brought this season. And I think he's improved in his mindset as well. The way that the team has played this season is representation of Ten Hag's mindset and his improvement as a coach this year.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add to what Maxwell said, and a little bit to what you said, Rick. Like, the thing about Ten Hag as well, not being a top player, sometimes it's even harder, to get good players, especially at a big club, to, agree with you. But again, it all comes down to results. If you have good results, they will go with you. And Ten Hag has been very successful, so then players accept it. But I think it's a bigger challenge than when you have like coaches like Pep, or Koeman. These are like good players. They have from Buster, but it can only, but from Buster, like, for instance, it can only bring you that far. If the results don't bring you like what you're supposed to have, then it will backfire, even though if you have been an amazing coach. Look at Frank de Boer, for instance.
Great players don't always make great coaches.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You can also...
I'm sorry, Rick?
Great players don't always make great coaches.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Definitely.
But what I'm trying to say is the group, you cannot fool the group. The group will know if you're a good coach after a while, yes or no. And they will go all the way or they won't. So that's basically...
Well, what a lot of players mentioned when he was stated at Ajax, especially the guys from Utrecht who played under him, they said the way he analyzes games is masterclass. And he probably does the same thing. Yeah, he has his vision on how to play, but he also has he's also like a good strategic when coaching on the sideline, because sometimes when things aren't going well in the first half, you can see his hand, or maybe not just him, but also the coaching staff. You can see the changes they are making for the second half, and somehow he's able to change the game.
Okay, all right. Good. Look, guys, we have to cap off this talk. Last thing I want to ask you guys, basically, we didn't go specifically on certain players, but of course, this whole team has been doing well. And it would be strange, to just highlight a couple of players. But still, I want to ask you, let me put it differently. Are there players at this point in which, you think like this player has surprised me, or maybe players have surprised me because I didn't anticipate this from them? I know I did from a couple of players, Haller, Pasveer, Berghuis a little bit, because I didn't expect him to be on the 10. I thought he would be on the right wing position, and I didn't know if he would be good enough to, like be in front of Anthony. But I never expect him to be on the 10 position. So I don't know how you guys see it. I want to go with Maxwell first on this one.
Well, if I could give an award to the most developing player of the year, then to me it would go to Alvarez. I know it's an unpopular opinion of me, but he's in European games he would be the first one to put on the field. But in our Mickey Mouse competition, he also would be the first one I took out of the field.
Hey man, you cannot say Mickey Mouse anymore. We're the country that has gathered the most points in Europe this season, man. Come on.
I know. But still, he's a very good player. But his skill set, he's even unique in the squad. But if we want more skills on the field, on the midfield, then he would be the first one. If you look at the starting 11, he would be the first one I would take off the field, because then you could have a more dynamic midfield. Because the main thing people would say, why would you start with Alvarez? It's because of he's keeping the balance. But against the lower teams, do we need balance? Come on.
What would you do?
But
what would you do?
That being said,
yeah,
to me, he developed. I think he brought some kind of new spirit from the Copa to Ajax, and he's showing more than just being El Machine on the midfield. He's also bringing some good skills, and I'm complimenting him for that.
Do you think it's only the Alvarez, or it's like the triangle?
No,
like
of course,
Alvarez,
no.
Martinez, Timber.
Of course. Martinez, Timber, they are really, again, where I started with, they're steady.
Yeah, it's thanks to them. Yeah, Rick, what about you?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm really impressed with Mazraoui this season. His link-up play with Anthony has been really shining, and I mentioned it in the game talk after Sporting. How Anthony basically owned that right hand of the field, but it was that way with Mazraoui that really actually made that actually occur. So I'm really impressed with Mazraoui this year. Yes, Alvarez has been, steady, like you said, Maxwell, and also Martinez as well in the defense. They've really impressed me. Haller is starting to, I guess, open up his game. I think there were some comments about him not being such a wooden doll anymore and just a tap-in merchant. So he's actually shown some skills and really improved. So I think, the whole squad's really improved, but I think those three players really have shown that, they've gone to another level.